Durant blows by Primo. Attack!
Jokic in the power. Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast alongside Trevor Mickulin. I'm Scott Ayers. Christian Dennis is gone, but we have brought in the producer himself, the man of the hour, Matt G. Matt is on camera for the second time. We regret it almost every time. For your podcast listeners, you don't have to see him. He's been shaking. He's been moving. Matt, we're glad you're on the show again.
I'm happy to be here. I'm jazzed.
He's Utah Jazz.
He's
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa,
Utah
whoa, no.
Jazz. and you know, maybe it's your first time listening to Small Ball. Maybe it's your 10th time listening. We first want to say thank you for taking the time to listen, to watch, whatever it might be. The second thing I want you to know is Matt. He's our new producer. And Matt, how much basketball do you know?
All of it, dude. Test me.
Be honest.
Nothing. I know absolutely nothing.
And we'll kind of get to that later in the show, but just kind of be aware, Matt. He's great, both in front of the camera, on the mic, behind the camera. It doesn't really matter. We're thankful you're here. But
Absolutely.
Enough about Matt. Let's talk about the real All-Stars.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
man.
Let's talk about players in the NBA and the All-Star game. That's coming up. The voting has come out. Some obvious names getting a lot of love, a lot of attention. But Trevor, we were talking before the show. There's some guys that we think aren't getting the votes, aren't getting the love, and aren't getting the attention that they deserve, and are maybe some potential players you should be on the lookout for making the All-Star game.
Yeah, Scott. It's this time of year when the fan voting results are being thrown out every week or so, and it's just laughable at some of the names you see. Yeah, so the process is just super annoying at this point. But here are some hopefuls that we really do believe deserve to be in the All-Star game. And you could say I'm Utah jazzed about our first hopeful.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to Salt Lake City for this one, folks. And it's none other than Lauri Markkanen. Big boy.
Wow.
Big Bird.
Big Bird, that's right.
Yeah, Lauri legend. Lauri Bird.
It's Lauri. Wow.
Yeah,
did
you
you
like
come
that?
up with Lauri Bird, or did someone else come up with that?
It's on Basketball Reference.
No, that's too bad. Okay.
Lauri Markkanen is having a phenomenal year. First of all, the Jazz are 8th in the West, a team that they traded away Rudy Gobert. They traded away Donovan Mitchell. No one expected them to be where they're at right now. And they just look so good. And Lauri Markkanen has been a huge part of why they're there.
Yeah, I know.
I agree with you, man.
I see you laughing, and I see Matt's nodding. Anyways, I'm going to continue.
Incredible.
You keep just really quick as a
People were
disclaimer
holding
for
them down.
Spotify listeners. Why you're like, why is Trevor losing it? Trevor, you had to. I warned Trevor before the show. I was like, you have to understand, Matt will not stop nodding.
No.
He doesn't know basketball, so you will start speaking, and it's just.
Dude, I'm a student in class right now. Front row. Donovan Mitchell, never heard of his name before.
It's a total teacher's
Larry
pet.
Mackinnon, come on. LMNOP, what's going on?
So Trevor, continue. But just so Spotify listeners know, it's just you kind of have to. It's like when you're putting at the Waste Management Open. People are making noise. You have to lock in, Trevor, and that's what I'm asking.
I'll keep my eyes
Matt's
down.
making
I'll keep my eyes
noise.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah, that's my first good one in a while.
Yeah, so Lauri Markkanen, let's look at the numbers and see why he deserves. Number one, as I mentioned, his team is successful. 8th seed in the West, in the loaded West. And we have 25 points per game. He's shooting at a clip of 50% from the field, 41% from deep, and he's averaging 9 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game. And he's had some monster performances as of late. He had 49 points a couple weeks ago, 28, 25, 21, 28. Like, he's just so consistent. Those are about the last 5. And so Lauri Markkanen, to me, is a guy that you have to put in there. I know that some people don't necessarily – I've seen the debate of, do we factor in previous seasons when considering who's going to be in the All-Star game? I think that there's a balance that you can have there. But with a guy like Lauri Markkanen, it's so fun, and let's get him into the All-Star game, especially given the team's success.
I completely agree. And, you know, he is a player, I think before the season too, it was like, what kind of player is Markkanen? Because in Cleveland, he wasn't anything. He had some games where it was like, oh, Lauri's pretty nice. But he finally has become the number one on a team. And what does that look like? It looks awesome. It looks like a guy who can actually lead a team, especially once he starts getting some guys around him in Utah.
Yeah, and what this means is that probably a Paul George or a Anthony Davis won't make the All-Star team. So Anthony Davis probably won't make it just due to injury, in which I think Lauri's going to be birthed that first All-Star appearance. So
Right, he should. I mean, guys ahead of him right now are Paul George, Andrew Wiggins, Zion, Anthony Davis, Jokic, and LeBron. Paul George and Andrew Wiggins,
they should not be
They
there.
shouldn't be ahead of him.
And that's where, like, the Paul George one is because he had a couple weeks this season, but also he's been hurt for most of the year. And it's like taking into consideration his name and what he's done in the past.
100%.
That's an example where it's like, hey, this isn't an all-star year. That's why it's so impressive that you hear about Kobe and KG's at the end of their career. It's like this guy's been to the All-Star game 12 years in a row, and it's like, oh my gosh. But I feel like now it's not that impressive.
And even at the end of Kobe's career, and who's, you know, obviously one of the greatest players ever, you know, he was missing a lot of games, and there were probably players that were playing better than him, but it was name. And that's where All-Star game, it's like, do you want this to be an accolade that in the future means, hey, this is a Hall of Famer because he made 12 All-Star games? I think this is the kind of voting that it's like, okay, if we're going to let Andrew Wiggins in and not Markkanen, then you can't use that argument of like, well, this guy only had 8 All-Star appearances.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also just say, like, for a player like Kobe, an all-time great, I understand putting him in through his whole career.
It's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle. But for a Paul George,
right.
no.
Yeah.
No way,
You can't
dude.
do it. Yeah.
Like for the guys like LeBron, maybe KG, Dirk, the all-timers, yes.
Yeah, KD, Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
Giannis,
yeah.
those guys won't miss another All-Star game.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
just
so.
won't, unless they're hurt. Like, Giannis could average 15, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
And he'd still have enough fan vote to be
Yeah.
in the start.
I mean, a good example to look at of someone that has lived through the stardom and then fell off and didn't find themselves in an All-Star game in due to role is Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
And I think we should see that on like guys like Paul George right now because they're not playing this season.
No, it doesn't make sense for it to be like an impressive accolade for someone like Paul George over Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
I think Markkanen is a perfect example of a guy who needs to be in the All-Star game. It's not he should, he needs to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah. You want another fun one?
Yeah, can I give you a fun one real
me a
quick?
fun one.
Let me give you a fun one. And Matt, you're going to like this. You're going to start
I
nod
love
your head
fun.
right now. I mentioned Giannis, and there's a teammate in Milwaukee that I think deserves at least more attention. I'm not saying he absolutely deserves to be in the All-Star game, and that's Drew Holiday.
Okay.
Drew Holiday is one of those players where you mentioned playing their role, and Holiday does that so well. Chris Middleton has been out. He's stepped up in scoring. He's averaging 19 points per game, 1.5 steals per game. And then when Giannis is out, Drew becomes the main scoring threat, and he does a great job. Had 36 the other night against Toronto. He is such a key piece and was one of the main reasons why Milwaukee won that championship a couple years ago. He's having a great year. He's having a great year as the number 2 guy. And I know in All-Star games, it can usually just be that number 1 option that makes the All-Star game. But if there were to be a number 2 option coming out of the East, there's obviously KD and Kyrie, but I think Drew Holiday deserves more recognition as well because defensively, he's the best guard in the NBA. I mean, he is so good on the defensive end, and some of those stats aren't measured. You know, steals per game only shows so much. When you see 1.4, it's like, oh, he gets, 1.5 steals. There's more to it. You know, he's very, very active on the defensive end.
Yeah, I like Drew Holiday making it. For that to happen, it would take Trae Young not
Right.
making it and becoming a snub, which is in my opinion.
Unlikely.
A long shot, but also Trae Young shooting like 31% from deep this season. Like he's having an off year, and he's young enough into his career where, hey, maybe he doesn't make it this season.
Right.
Jalen Brunson too is a guy that's name is in there. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I love Drew Holiday, and he's such a fun player. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's just kind of a fun name because you mentioned there are even like DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
If Halliburton's not hurt, Hallie is.
At this point, I feel like he's a lock.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep.
So obviously kind of an uphill battle for Drew, but I just think he deserves a bit more attention. But since he's a small market guy, he's not going to get it compared to like LaMelo Ball's up there. He's 6th, 7th in voting, and LaMelo Ball, amazing point guard. You know, probably a future guard of the NBA, but he's another example of a guy who's
Future
been
guard of the NBA?
like a top guard in the NBA.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, hold on.
You're like, what do you mean? Is he G League? No. Like one of the top guards in the NBA.
Yeah.
But he's been hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of my criticisms with that. But anyways, Trev, you got one more fun one.
I got one more fun one. This is probably going to be more of a long shot, but a player that needs to be in the conversation, and I haven't seen much of it. We're taking a trip from Sweden, I think, or Finland. Finland is where Lauri Markkanen is from.
Yes.
To Latvia, and we're talking about Porzingis.
Yes.
Kristaps Porzingis.
Porzingod, some may call him.
He's a one-time All-Star right now. When he was with New York, but this season he's been playing really good. And he's played 39 games for them this year.
Amazing.
So he's been super durable, which is the knock on Kristaps Porzingis. And he's 22 points per game and rebounds 9. And let's see his blocks. He's at 1.5. So he's just playing really good basketball. And honestly, Washington is a team that I honestly kind of like.
I do too.
I kind of like them to sneak up a little bit.
They would be a really fun 8th seed.
They'd be a really fun 8th seed. And I know the East is tough. Don't get me wrong. But currently they sit at 12th. And
only a couple games
back of 10. So I could see them making a climb into that play-in this season. And on the back of Beal and Kristaps and Kuzma. I know that Beal has been battling injuries all year, but I like that team. And I really like what Kristaps has done.
And even if he doesn't make the All-Star game, this is one of those seasons where you just have to be really happy for a player.
Yeah.
Because he's probably one of the more scrutinized players right now in the NBA just with his health and not being able to get it done with Luka and Dallas. It's great to see that he's been able to play most of his games this year.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit with Kristaps, dude. I don't like NBA Twitter culture where there's a player that gets scrutinized like Kristaps Porzingis.
Or Zion.
Yes. Or Zion. Like, let's focus on Kristaps. Kristaps got injured. Yes, he was very, very injury prone, not great in Dallas. And then all of a sudden he just has this label on him as like a negative asset almost. And a guy that he's never going to be healthy. He's not anything. And then he's balling this season and you don't hear anything about it. Like there's no recognition for him. No, like it's once this guy's got this label, it's almost impossible to get that off. Kristaps deserves his flowers. We got to give it to him this season. I know we're only halfway, but
he does though.
Yeah.
And if he plays 60 games this year, and I think he's well on his way to play, much closer to 70, absolutely deserves his flowers. And I really want to quickly touch on that.
Yeah.
Is NBA Twitter, it's probably the most toxic, at least here in the U.S. when it comes to sports Twitter. Hockey, just guys, I'm talking about dudes getting checked into the boards. Football, it's complaining about Goodell, whatever.
Yeah.
There's some unity. But NBA Twitter is just, it feels like almost, it feels very toxic. It's like, oh, what's more toxic? I'm reading these political tweets and now I'm on NBA Twitter. And you can't tell the difference in toxicity, which is a problem. We should appreciate players more and what they're able to do and not just constantly be like, L ratio. And you're like,
yeah.
What are you talking about? We're watching greatness.
Honestly, it doesn't matter what a player will do. It does not matter. All that fans hold to are their opinions and what they, what's popular or whatever it is. They'll hold to that, and no matter what the player does, the player can drop 70 points, And it does not change where their stance is as far as, oh, this guy's actually legit. He's a good player. Kristaps is back. No, like it doesn't change.
No, not at all. And that's the problem. And if that player has one game that's like not impressive, those fans just come out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like this turn because we didn't even have this talk prepared.
No.
But it's something we do talk about off air sometimes.
We're snapping necks and cashing checks this episode.
Amen. Amen, brother. What?
Yep.
That's nice.
You like
we
that?
have
Yeah,
been snapping necks, and Matt's going to be delivering us checks after this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Matt. But I agree, and it's something maybe we can touch on in the future. But it's just disheartening. It's like, why are we arguing about this?
Where's the love?
Yeah, we just had one of the craziest months of basketball in January, where guys are scoring 50 and 40 point galore, and it feels like we're more so just complaining about, oh yeah, no, it's soft, like blah blah blah. It's like, come on, let's enjoy this basketball. This is amazing.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to something else, a different version of basketball, Trevor.
Yeah.
And you introduced this to me, and I think it's now time to introduce it to our listeners.
Yeah. This is really important for people to know. Just have been really diving into basketball as a sport globally, and I want to share with you guys some rules from this place called North Korea. Here are their professional basketball rules. So this is guys get paid to play basketball in North Korea. These are the rules. They're different from the NBA. As you will see here in a second. I'm going to give you guys 5 rules, okay?
Okay, 5 rules.
And
Matt,
Can we guess any?
Can you count that high, Matt, really quick?
1,
Okay.
2,
Okay.
3,
Yep.
4,
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
You were so close, dude. So here are the 5 rules, okay? And I want you guys to think through what player would be the best player in North Korea.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So here we go. Rule number 1.
Kim Jong-un.
Rule number 1. Slam dunks are worth 3 points.
I love that.
So definitely changes the game. I don't know if dudes are throwing it down in North Korea, but they're worth 3 points.
Are the rims shorter in North Korea so Kim Jong-un can dunk?
You would think so.
He already has the most.
You would think so.
There's no way to argue that.
Yeah. No. Rule number 2.
Okay.
3-point shots are awarded 4 points if the ball doesn't touch the rim. So they get 4 points for 3-point shots that are swished. So that's a fun one. Let's see. Number 3. Go ahead.
I was just going to say 2 players, Steph Curry and Kim Jong-un's good friend, Dennis Rodman.
Great friend.
You think those two would do good?
I think Rodman for the dunk, Steph for the 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I could
Unless there's a Dennis Rodman
I
rule.
feel like I could find a 3-point shooter that can slam down a little bit.
Yeah. Great equalizer.
I'm just saying. All right, number 3. 1 point is deducted for every missed free throw shot.
So Shaq would be terrible.
Shaq would be absolutely garbage in this league.
Ben Simmons too.
Yeah, this is my favorite rule, okay? Any field goal made in the last 3 seconds of a game, it's given 8 points.
No way.
Yeah.
So
you could be down 15 points. Hear me out. You could be down 15 points, 3 seconds left.
Score, steal, score, and win.
Score, steal, score, and that's
Is
a
it
dub.
and it's 3-pointers or is it any basket?
Any basket, any field goal.
That's unbelievable. You put one NBA player overseas in North Korea.
Yeah.
And I think they'd be able to do that multiple times a game.
Yeah.
The score, steal, score.
Yeah, how many teams are playing in North Korea?
I don't have that for you. I don't have that information.
I'll pull that up. You keep giving us stats.
Okay. The last one is a simple one, but games can end in a tie. So games end in a tie. They don't keep playing overtimes.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the North Korea way. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, I Googled basketball teams in North Korea, and it's just the national team. There's nothing that comes up.
Like main squad.
No,
and
I didn't
practice
make this
squad
up,
playing
dude.
against each other.
I'm just
That's
saying. I don't even know if they let organized basketball. Well, let's.
No. Let
How
me.
do they practice to go to a world tournament?
Yeah, exactly.
They're used to their own rules.
No, no,
I-
there is a professional league. There is a professional league. Let me read this for you. It's no secret that North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un loves basketball.
He does.
He has a fondness for the 1990s Chicago Bulls and a particular admiration for MJ and Dennis Rodman. Of
course.
Yada, yada, yada. The Supreme Leader and the Worm hit it off and been friends ever since. Okay. Within the Hermit Kingdom, basketball is played with an odd, interesting, peculiar set.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. Peculiar set of scoring rules. According to Chinese media, the rules were initiated by Kim Jong-un's father.
Wow. Okay, so it's been around for a while.
It's been around for a while. So these are, it's just how the country does it, man.
I'm surprised they don't let us know, some of these teams.
Yeah, no.
Probably because it's, a terrible place to live. But
Yeah, I think I like a guy like Tracy McGrady.
Oh,
Tracy McGrady would kill in the North Korean Professional Basketball League. I mean, just
T-Mac would be awesome.
think about him. He's pretty sure he was in the dunk contest. He can jump high and throw down
What
hard.
about Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell would be a good one too.
He would be awesome.
Remember Tracy McGrady's last? He scored like 15
Oh,
points.
yeah,
and
for
something
Houston.
Like that. For Houston, I just imagine that
Oh my gosh, he would have scored.
Immensely.
immensely.
He would have scored immensely.
Yeah,
Is what Matt
it would have been
says.
great. So yeah, fun little.
That would be fun to play a game of pickup. You play Kim Jong-un rules so that the rims are also at about 7 feet.
Yeah.
I need that.
Kim Jong-un, so you can dunk just like Kim Jong-un.
Okay. Swishes 4.
Swishes 4, dunks 3, and then that's scoring.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that would be a
I
lot
want to
of
see their highest scored basketball game.
Oh, it has to be.
That'd be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I just-
a judge is just sitting there like, nah, that wasn't a swish.
yeah.
Did not.
yeah. Imagine who's scorekeeping.
Oh, it's
That's gotta be a
so
nightmare.
subjective. Yeah, I don't think that was a switch. I mean, it's probably Kim just deciding what's what.
First name basis.
First name basis with Kim.
Can't believe.
Yeah.
Supreme leader.
Supreme leader,
KJ.
non-pooper, Kim Jong-un.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's good. You know what? Maybe not for the next show, but whenever we find more unique rules,
Yeah.
we can bring it to the show and bring light to our listeners.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. We just want to bring light to the listeners.
I want to bring light and positivity to you guys. And that's what we do. That's why they tune into Small Ball Podcast. They look for something different, something new.
Yep.
And this next segment is very different, and it's fairly new. It's Facts with Matt.
Facts with Matt.
I was going to
Facts
think,
with
Bump,
Matt.
Matt has got the facts.
Fun facts with Matt.
Fun facts with Matt. And last episode we picked a team. Actually, we didn't pick. We randomized a
We
team.
did.
And Matt landed on OKC.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
really the assignment and objective. And OKC fans, if you're watching, the whole point is to really sell OKC.
I love
in the basketball team.
This is great because I love OKC. I've been there twice.
Yeah, and you loved it.
I do.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to.
Oh, no, this is an honest podcast
Hey
moment.
guys,
This is honest.
this
Come
show
on
is
in.
brought to you
Yeah.
by Noah Krentz, currently listening to a rival podcast.
currently listening to Joe
Noah,
Rogan.
come on in.
This this is real.
What is up,
our
man?
roommate did just walk in.
Here, you can take a kneel.
Yeah, dude, that's hot.
Just tell them your name, where you're from, your favorite basketball team, and favorite player.
Sure. Easy. Okay. Name is Noah.
And look at the camera. too.
I am a giant basketball fan. It's probably at least my third or fourth favorite sport.
Yeah,
I
it's
am
good.
from Minnesota.
Nice.
Big Wolves guy. Anthony Edwards is the future.
Wow.
Top 2 player under 23. And I think that's what I got for you guys today.
Noah, nicely done.
Thank you,
All
Noah.
right.
Thank you. You can grab your stuff and
Thank you,
yeah,
Noah.
Yeah, you could walk.
Yeah, you
right
can
in
eat
front of
dinner
us.
now.
You're fine.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Our 12 viewers are going to be crushed, but
Yeah, this is no
Yeah,
more
I mean,
sponsors.
no more sponsors. We had a lot lined up. But
Yeah, it happens.
What can you say?
And you know what? That's show.
Oh, is that ATL?
That just
Dude, I love ATL.
Shut up.
This place is sponsored by ATL Wings. Whatever you just said.
actually
That's
really-
null and void.
Matt. After the show, I need you to send that to ATL.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
hot.
Let's hear
All right.
these. Let's
Yeah,
hear
these
these stats.
stats, dude.
Anyways, yeah, go
Facts.
back into OKC.
Like
You
I
love
was saying, let me
OKC, been
picture the
there
picture.
twice.
Like I love OKC, beautiful
Yeah.
city, right? Like every time I've been there, I just think about everything, right? It's a beautiful city.
think about
it's
everything?
life, dude.
Like, yeah, okay.
You ever just
continue.
sit there and think about life? Like when I think about OKC, there's a few things I think about. Like I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but OKC is the horse show capital of the world. Kind of nuts, right? And
Yeah.
being the horse show capital of the world, when I went there, I was like shocked. I was like, I've seen 0 horse shows. I can't believe this is the capital, right?
Yeah.
And they have to support that economy
In
with
this economy?
Yeah.
with their 28,584 total hotel rooms. Insane.
Wow.
28,000 hotel rooms in OKC.
I have no
Yeah.
reference if that's a lot or a little for a city.
It's a
No idea.
it's a good amount.
You could say any number.
I'd be like, no way.
There's 28K?
Well, another cool thing about OKC,
You keep
it's
going. I'm gonna look
squarely-
up Phoenix to
Yeah,
see
please.
if that's an impressive
Yeah.
stat or if that's just a random fact.
Dude. Yeah. Well, also, like, really cool thing about OKC, squarely in the middle, equidistant between New York and LA.
Is OKC.
Yes.
Really?
And did you know that LA is not too far away from Fresno?
okay.
Do you know what happened in Fresno?
What happened?
That's
at
right.
Fresno?
That's the school where Paul George graduated from. PG.
From Fresno State?
Yes, he was a Bulldog.
So, what does that have to do with OKC?
Paul George was the best player for for OKC, according to when I googled who was the best.
His 2-year stint, and he's better than KD.
Look from Noah and
It was the first name on top. I ran with that.
That's
I did
awesome.
not read anything
Do you know
below.
where Fresno is? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I'm from-
California. The California kid.
Yeah, he's a Bulldog.
That's awesome, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, PG.
Yeah, so PG went
Yeah.
there. Kind of sick. Kind of cool. We were kind of talking about this earlier. The Suns have been on the way down, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And guess who's been on the way up?
Yes, they've been climbing.
Yes.
They're 10th in
They're
the
number
West
10 right now. Yeah.
Ahead of the Phoenix Buns.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Kinda
That's
nuts.
Awesome. For reference, 28,000 hotel rooms. There are 70,000 hotel rooms here in Phoenix.
Yeah, and you know what? Phoenix is a lot bigger, so
Yeah.
that's pretty
Well,
impressive.
look at
for
that
OKC.
compared to like Tulsa.
Shout out OKC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out OKC.
Shout out.
Good.
Yeah.
That was really good. And what's crazy is we don't have a time period of when you will stop giving facts of OKC.
No.
So there's a lot of weeks down the road of facts with Matt with OKC, and then we'll get season 2 different facts.
course.
But
Yeah,
that
they
was really
told me
good.
they're going to send me there sometime soon. I'm still waiting on the travel voucher, but
Yeah.
Small Ball is sending me there.
Yeah, he's going
and,
to do some vlogging.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I can't wait to see all my OKC.
You know what we were thinking, actually? You know how that dude traveled from one side of the country to the other for
With a penny.
free?
Yeah.
With a penny. That's what we're thinking for you. So
I like that idea.
Yeah, it's
What?
just easy on the budget.
Super easy.
Start with $1.
Yeah, I used to have family outside of Tulsa. Actually, I do have family in Tulsa. Maybe I'll just make a little trip down to Tulsi Way.
That's
like
a video idea.
I like
Yep.
that.
All right, I'll write that down.
Write it
Yeah,
down.
I'm going to write it down as a business trip. You hear that? IRS?
I hear that, IRS.
That was a great episode.
That was great.
Yeah.
We touched All-Stars, we touched North Korean basketball, and we obviously were able to touch Matt at the end there with his facts with Matt. So for the great Matt G and the wonderful Trevor Meekland, I'm Scott Harris. We say so long for now, and we will see you next week.
We miss you, Christian.